Okay, so here we go. Just spotlighting myself for everyone. Welcome Cassandra and Kathy and everybody who may be joining in now or from home at a later time. Maybe you like to do a restore and refresh class like this when you get up in the morning or when you're going to bed. It doesn't matter. Um, my name's Kathy. For those of you that I haven't met, and I'm just so happy to be here and to continue to have our Boulevard Sangha, our community of practitioners. When the storm ramps up, we've got all hands on deck, all crew members, and I also would like to say it's really hard to. I'm finding it hard to find any motivation to get out of bed. We've got the elements, the winter cold that are causing us to really contract and tighten up, as well as just the completely natural scanning for fear, scanning danger, all of that stuff. So we'll work with some what I call sloth or feelings of sluggishness today. So class is going to be a little more energetic or active than it might be at the club. We're not going into a workout or anything like that, but sometimes it requires a bit of small effort just to move some energy. So things like shaking, jiggling, a little bit of electricity and vibration, we'll incorporate that into our movement. And I'm not a fan of traditional New Year's resolutions, but some intentions that I've picked up for this year, from psychology, intentions towards getting more rest, learning to say no to things that we don't want to do. The exercise piece is fantastic, of course, if you can go out for a walk or a workout, but it doesn't have to be that. It can just be getting off your butt, getting off the couch and doing a few shakes. So huge benefits to all of that. For our practice this morning or whenever, in my space, I've got a couple of pillows. I like to have a blanket. It's cold in my space. Also nice for knees if we're doing some of that. Try to offer options. So really move in a way that supports your body. And if we do some sitting, then it's nice to have your hips lifted up on a pillow, or you can certainly sit on your couch or a chair. We're going to start lying down. Enjoy your practice. You don't need anything for this posture. Bringing the entire body, which includes, without me having to say it, but I will just initially, the mind and the body are together. We call them separate things, but it's all part of who we are. So the experience of being human embodied consciousness. So you can come to lie down on your back, your legs can stretch out, your arms, or you might feel a little moving around would be helpful. And if your low back is feeling tender or achy at all, then please bend the knees. Take the feet a little wide and let your knees fall into touch. If it's comfortable for you, you can close your eyes here and let your hands rest on your abdomen or just be rolling towards the ceiling, whatever's most comfortable for you. This might be our first time today to actually be aware that there is a body here. And this is a practice, so it can be difficult, as I said, to just be still for a couple of moments, just to land in the body. Opening up to some curiosity to what is present. So that can include lots of mental activity, some anxieties about what might be coming later, or just those really ingrained pathways of going over and over, trying to solve something or a conversation from previously. So just to be aware of that and have some lightness around it, some friendliness, those anxieties and fears, that part of our psyche is really there to just protect us. So we can open to it and also let it know that it can be in the back seat. For right now, everything is reasonably okay if we're able to be here feeling into our body sensations, just the weight of the body, the back of the skull, anything that feels connected with the ground, the back of the hips. And then notice the breath as it's coming and going. Just whatever its natural pace is here. If your sinuses are feeling clear, can you breathe in and out through the nose? Just as a way of calming the nervous system, letting it know everything is okay right now. And the focus on the breath is certainly optional. For some, that can create some agitation. So other anchors that you can turn towards during your practice can be just hearing sounds or feeling body sensations, knowing that mind will wander, will try to pull us out of our present moment experience, and that's totally fine. Let's take a big stretch out. So reach the arms and the legs away from each other. If the knees have been bent, you can straighten them out. And then take maybe a little more length on the right side. So reach the right heel away from the right fingers. Just feeling the left side kind of shorten up and the right side lengthen. Taking a few simple deep breaths into the right side body. And then switch sides. So let the left heel reach long and away from the left fingertips. Opening up the left side of the rib cage and the hip. And then come back to center and lengthen out one more time. Let's make fists with the hands. Draw the toes towards the face. Start to activate all the muscles. Ankles, shins, hug the thighs around the bone. Draw the belly in. Feel your core start to light up there. Make fists, wrists, upper arms, shoulders. Take all the muscles of your face and kind of screw them into a knot as well. It's feeling all that contraction and all that building of energy where it's really hard to even breathe and hard for me to talk. And then let that go. Just let things fall away. You can flip the feet from side to side, jiggling the legs. Let's bring the arms down beside the hips and let's keep going with that. Only just switch the movement so that your feet are toes pointing and toes flexing. So it's meant to just create some electricity, some energy. This is part of that a little bit of effort that we're putting in here. So you can feel some sensations, or see if you can feel the backs of the hips moving as well. It's just a linear, getting some rubbing across the backs of the shoulders, the back of the skull. If you did this for a while, you might wear the hair off the back of your head. Let's keep going though, so that it does feel like a little bit of work. My pace of breath is changing. Just notice what's happening for you. Some fatigue maybe in the ankles, or not so much cooperation as they keep going. We'll strengthen the ankles too to keep us stable when we're on our feet. Let's do this for another count of 3, 2, and 1. Pause. Let your feet fall away again and just notice what's here. Deeper breath or more awareness of something. Let's hug the knees in towards the chest now for a squeeze. And then take the feet up towards the ceiling. Really loosen the legs. You can let the arms kind of float up as well. So it's a dead bug kind of situation. Start to shake here or kick out the feet. There's no right or wrong in the way you're moving here. Keeping it light, having a little bit of fun, that can be an intention in your practice as well. Some silliness, some movements that we might not do if we were in front of a lot of other people. So shake, 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 whatever feels good here. Wiggle your hips. This is bringing some blood to the heart, also creating some of that energy. Kick your legs a little over to the right and your arms a little to the left. So we've got some spaghetti-like stuff going on here. And then go the other way. So arms and legs away from each other. It's going like seaweed from side to side. Little kicks and shakes. You're just kind of throw yourself a tantrum here. Imagine that you've got something stuck on the bottom of your hands and feet and you're trying to get rid of it. Not that we're trying to force anything away, but just dust floating up into the universe for another 3, 2, and 1. Slowly let the hands and feet come to the ground. Feeling the energy settle again. Equally important to notice what's here in between movements or shapes. Let's hug the knees in again and take them wide this time. So knees off to the side. You can hold your shins or underneath your thighs and just let your heels be heavy and loose here. A little bit of a passive Baddha Konasana to open up the inner thighs. Let's rock over to one side and then the other and just swing it along. Simple movements or poses we may have done many times before, but just taking it in this morning, doing something really nice for yourself, that bit of effort to move some of the sloth or sluggishness. I've been sitting on the couch a lot, watching more news and Netflix than I know is good for me, but that's what it is, and that's okay. So let's bring the left leg long and hug the right knee in towards the chest for a squeeze. Just a little pump a few times with your right thigh in towards the right side of your rib cage into the ascending colon. If this is bothering your back, then go ahead and bend the left leg. Let's do that for 3 squeezes, 2, get these elimination organs, and 1, stimulated. Stretch the right leg down to meet the left leg and just switch sides. So left thigh coming in and pump the left thigh just a few times over here on the left and the right leg if that's better. And then lengthen the left leg. Let's do just 1 squeeze in of right knee and then switch it with the left. Let's get a little more juice going here, just going from side to side. Right thigh hugs in and then left thigh. And you can totally go at your own pace here, a little slower or quicker, or you can just hold longer on one side and then the other. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right knee comes in again. Left leg just relaxing down the mat. Take your left hand to your outer right thigh. Start to lift up the right hip as that left knee comes, or right knee comes to the left. And we'll make this dynamic, this movement this morning. So bring the knee back up over the hip. Gently cradle the knee or just hug underneath the outer right thigh with your left hand, and then bring that knee over to the left. Keep your right shoulder nestled to the ground. Inhale back to knee above the hip, and then exhale like you're wringing out, squeezing out an orange. Back to center is the inhale, and then exhale a little wring out. Maybe as you do this a few times, you look away from your knee as it goes. Getting a little into the neck, the whole spine. All right, come back through center and bend your left knee. Again, let's cross the right ankle above the left knee, pressing the thighs away and keeping your left foot on the floor, but rocking the hips, the left and right, left and right. It might be nice just to do that kind of dynamic movement, or you can plug the left knee in towards the chest a little bit, cradle your hamstring. If you do have a strap or a long sock, then you can use that around your left hamstring instead. If you feel any pain in your right knee, then you can back it off and bring the left foot back towards the ground and just press the thighs away. Try different variations, not necessarily the same one every time. Saying no, practicing that to things that don't feel right in your body this morning. Let's come back through to foot on the floor. If it was lifted, left foot, and take the right heel up towards the ceiling. Cradle the hamstring with your hands or strap or sock, and then bend the right knee. Press the heel up. Inhaling, flex the foot, and exhale, give it a squeeze. Let's reach up again. Inhale, keep the leg up and circle out the ankle a few times. Finding the mind really active, just bring it back to breath or the sensations that are most predominant for you right now. Let's press that heel up, let go of the leg. Slowly start to lower it. Feel connected with your core, so hug your lower back to the floor. I'm keeping my left knee on the ground, or sorry, my left, that would be hard. My left foot on the ground is just to lower and hug all the muscles to the bone again, kind of a bit of effort here. Squeezing thighs, calf, that foot is still a little bit lifted if you can. And then just let that leg drop. Slide the left leg out to meet the right leg for a moment, just to feel into left and right differences, length or weight on one side of the body. And then let's switch sides. So bring the knees to bent again. Left thigh in towards the chest for a squeeze, and the right leg can just relax down the mat if that's okay. Let's do the dynamic twisting on the second side. So right hand to outer left thigh, left arm stretches away. Can be down by your hip or out to the side. Once you get into the pose, make sure your left shoulder is heavy towards the floor, if not touching the floor. Let's come back with the knee above the hip for the breath in, and then bring it out, exhale. It's mostly in the lower spine. Inhale, center. Exhale, picking up over the left hip. You can move a little quicker or a little slower. Pumping out the digestive organs on this side. A few more times. Maybe looking away from the knee as it moves to the right. Good, and then as you come back to center, give it a squeeze in and bend your right knee, cross the left ankle now. Let's press the thighs away again and shift just across, just a small movement across the sacrum, just above the tailbone there. Just keeping some core engagement, the low back heavy, and either continue on with that or drawing the right thigh in. If there's a way for you to bind around the left thigh or even the left shin, if your arms are long today, sometimes having something underneath your head, it can be nice for some of these poses so it doesn't feel like it's falling back in space. You can use your blanket or pillow anytime, using whatever you have in your space to support your practice. If your right foot is lifted, let's lower it down now and take the left ankle and reach the foot up towards the ceiling on the left side. If you can reach for your hamstring with your hands or your strap, or just let it be up there, that's okay. Let's bend the thigh in towards the chest, and if you pumps here, reach up through the heel. It's like you're pressing the gas. Hug in on the exhale and reach up, inhale. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, lengthen. Circle it out, moving through the ankle, spreading the toes. Shifting. Feels like a little more work and effort to go slower. So just experimenting. Flex out through that heel, press down through the right foot, and let's just hover the leg. Take your time, a few breaths to get to where it is. So it may still be up quite high, or you may be lower to the ground. An extra contraction, some intentionality to wake up that leg, the thigh, the ankle, the toes towards the face for 3, 2, and 1. Drop it down, let the toes fall open. Right leg runs down to meet it. Noticing the pace of the breath here, any sense of left and right symmetry or asymmetry. Let's bring the knees to bend. One more thing we'll do here on our back. So both knees bent. Let's do a couple of pelvic rocks. So pressing the low back down, not lifting the hips, but just peeling the tailbone towards the ceiling. Rocking, releasing on the inhale, the hip fronts roll towards the thighs, and then press the low back down, engaging the belly. The inhale is the release. This is just getting us back on board. Some synchronized breath. The exhale is the back widening. Rocking back and forth. And maybe you're feeling, if we can move some attention to the head, neck, and shoulders, that there's some corresponding movement of the spine, even up in that area. Pressing the feet. And we'll do one more. Let's let the left leg move down again and keep the right knee where it is. Move the arms comfortably away from the body. So this is something different that we haven't done very often. The left leg is just floppy and loose, and the right knee is going to stay towards the ceiling. We'll really press into the right foot, but start to lift the right front hip flexor up and over towards the left. So press the right foot. Keep the right knee tracking towards the ceiling. Another way to think about this is just really squeeze your right glute. So you've got a lot of space behind the back of your right hip. And getting that stretch through the hip flexor, the psoas, the muscle that joins low back through the hip. And then let's lower that down. Let's do that a couple times. So just press into the right foot, lift the right hip up and over towards the left, but keep wrapping the right knee towards the ceiling or towards the bottom of your mat. Drop the hip down, press into the right foot. So the whole right foot is on the ground. And let's do that 2 more times. Little squeezes of the right bum cheek, a contraction there. Drop it down, relax, and then squeeze it. Good. Left knee will bend now. You can even move your left foot a little bit off to the side. Right leg goes long. Press into the left foot. Right leg just relaxes. The left glutes start to squeeze, and the left front hip is moving towards the right. Press into the left palm, reach the left knee off to the side a little bit or towards the ceiling, depending on your perspective, and then drop the left hip. Let's roll it again. Press the whole left foot to the floor, lifting up the left bum cheek, and then drop it down. Shifting, pressing, hip flexor, stretching, and releasing. One more time. Awesome. Let's bring the right knee in, both knees in, and just curl up in a tight little ball. Your tailbone might want to lift up, but keep it nice and long. You can lift your chin if you like, hugging the thighs or bringing your hands on the shins for this version of a child's pose. Keep that in your lower spine and lower your head back down. So this is always an option if you prefer not to be on the knees for a child's pose. Depending on your energy, rolling over to one side to pause, or rocking a little just on the lower spine, cradling your hamstrings. Let's come. Try to come up. All right, and take a seat. Let's come over to the hands and knees. So I do have some padding underneath my knees. And we'll come into a tabletop shape. Let's let the forearms come down towards the ground and feel the shoulder blades move in towards each other. You can have your hands shoulder width apart, or you can clasp your hands together here. Let's feel this little bit of a heart opening pose, also very energizing. Keep a lift on your lower belly. I'm going to keep my hands wide so I can press up on the inhale and curve out the spine into some flexion, just lifting the underside of the body up. And then bring the forearms back down. On the inhale, draw your chest through. It should feel a bit like a cow pose or a heart opener. And then press into the palms and lift up on the lower belly again, chin towards the chest. The inhale is the forearms coming down. Again, you could clasp the hands together here, and you can go at whatever pace you like. If you'd like to follow along with my breath count, the exhale is moving us into a cat, and then the inhale is this a little bit of a weird forearm cow. Moving through to exhale. You can shake out the head, and then the inhale is a little bit more effort. Let's do that 2 more times. Great. So hands can be palms down, or you can use fists or fingertips and stir the hips around. Just go for some freestyle stuff here. Moving it around. If you don't care to be on your knees, then you can do some hip circles standing, or you could be also finding some way to sit and move that around. So please do open up your abilities to say no or to say yes to something different. However it is that it feels good to move your spine, kind of fishing around some figure 8 loops if you are on your knees. You can tip the hips a little forward and then back if that feels okay to move through back towards a little more of that kneeling child's pose, shifting forward and back, forward and back. And then again, just checking out with your knees if you are okay to just sit back towards your heels. Otherwise, you can take a cross-legged seat or sit on your couch, and let's reach the arms up here. Press the palms up towards the ceiling. And then press the palms forward for the exhale. Lift up on the inhale. And exhale, press out a little more of that, just limbering up the spine. Let's reach up this time. Let's bring the right fingertips down and reach up through the left arm. Take a little side stretch. So it's an option here if you can lift your bum a little bit and kind of sit that a little extra over towards the left just to feel something different. Again, if that's okay for your knees, or you can just be sitting in any comfortable manner for 3, 2, and 1. Let's lift back through the middle with both arms. Inhale. And then left fingertips down, reaching up through the right, a side stretch in any way that it's comfortable for your legs. If it's okay to lift up and sit a little off to the right. Enjoying this opening through the right side body for 3, 2, and 1. Back through the center line. Inhale. Let's come up off of all that and bring the hands down. Exhale. Do a few big circles. Again, you can be in any shape with your legs. Sitting on a chair or standing up. A few circles out. Let's move our fingers too, just kind of snapping and opening and closing. Kind of quack, quack, quack. Just feeling into the shoulders, smaller, bigger circles. And changing direction with that. Good, let's let the hands come down at the sides and curl the toes under. So we'll get into our feet. Toes curl under, maybe the feet come a little closer together. Let's try sitting back towards the heels. If you're okay here, to clasp the hands behind your back, we'll take a heart opening shape there. Or for sure, if you need to put your hands back on the floor and just work into stretching out the bottoms of the feet like that. And let's take a few breaths to be here. And something I like to do is just come up for a second on the inhale. If you like to make this more dynamic, and then sit back down on the exhale. Inhale to press it up. Keeping the ribs knitting down, and then exhale to take it back down. Let's do one more time to come up. And come back down. Releasing the hands, a couple of shoulder circles. Let's give the feet a break, come forward, bring the tops of the feet down and wrap them out there. Or go ahead and sit back on your heels, just to stretch out the fronts of the ankles. If you're not feeling much there, you can always fingertips behind the back, lift one knee, and the other knee, or both knees can come up. As I said, learning to say no when that's more supportive for your body. Let's take it back into the tabletop shape. And we'll stretch the right leg back. Just feel that stretch out through the hamstring. Let's rock forward and back, forward and back. I have a carpet underneath my mat, which kind of bothers my wrist. So sometimes I'll place books underneath the mat, or just come to fists. Bring the right knee back and left leg same side. So curl the toes under. Let's come to the tippy toes forward and then send it back. Keeping the chest and belly lifted away from the floor. Let's come back to the knees. Let's take the forearms down again like we did before. And we'll clasp the hands together here and lift the low belly just like that. So we've got that cat shape. And then we'll stretch the right leg back again and the left leg back again. I'm going to take a few breaths in a forearm plank pose. Hugging the elbows back and continuing to be aware of the low belly lift, the back of the skull lifting. Knees can be down, and that's great as well. Sometimes even feel a little more work and engage the core more. Hug it back and in. Hug the elbows towards yourself, even though they're not moving, for 3, 2, and 1. Let's tap the knees down, lower down onto the thighs. You can rest your forehead palm on palm and give the hips a shake. I would highly recommend, if you feel insecure at all about your back, if you do have a pillow, to place underneath your rib cage, a little bit of your pelvis. That's going to keep the low back nice and long for a bit more of the heart opening, which are energizing poses. Let's start with the forehead resting on the palms. Take your time if you need to go grab a prop. And then we'll feel the belly lifting up and in as we lift the elbows, and lift the hands with the forehead still connected, or lift the elbows. It's going to feel that wake up call. The back muscles lighting up, and then lower that down. Let's do that a few times. If you're using the pillow, adjust it so it's not too low down, a little bit under the, just depending on the size of the pillow. Push your tops of feet to the floor. The legs can be active and a little wide. The kneecaps lifting will help a lot to have some strength in the legs, some of that engagement again as you come up. You can take a couple breaths there. Try to squeeze the elbows towards the ceiling and then lower that down. Let's take the arms forward now, resting the forehead on the floor. Letting the hips relax for a moment. And then let's roll a marble forward and come up. Come up onto the fingertips there, kind of pull the ground back towards yourself. Or you can float the hands off there. If your arms are lifted, let's swing them down towards the hips and flip the palms towards the ceiling, a bit of a swimming action. And then start to come forward, maybe halfway, flip the palms down again and reach them. It can be 11s or you can be more on a wide V. So let's swim it out, reaching the arms back and flipping the palms so the thumbs are coming towards each other, lifting the palms to the ceiling. And then coming forward in that arc to wherever you can, palms are facing down. One more time, reaching out and back, or you might just be lifting and lowering the head with the head still with the forearms. Let's bring the forehead back to the palms and lower down. Good job. Take a breath in, and let it go. And slide the hands back. Take a child's pose here. If you don't care to be on the knees, that can be sitting. Another version of it, just wrapping the hands around the thighs and giving yourself a nice hug there, or just trying that for something different. Taking rest at times, just letting it all be. So we'll do a little bit of lunging today. Again, with just awareness of doing what you need to do to take care of your knees. If you have a pillow or the side of a couch or a chair, if you'd like to raise your hands up at all, I'm going to have the high kneeling that we had a little bit earlier. Hands on the hips and then stepping the left or right foot up. Start with the right side. Feels better for my knee to have the back toes curled under. I'm keeping my socks on only because it's a little cold in this room. And so the hands can be on the front thigh. You might sink a little bit down here. Or you can have your fingertips on the floor or onto some sort of a support, maybe inside the thigh. So choose your option, and we'll keep it dynamic again. So we'll take the hips back and we'll start to straighten out the front leg a little bit so you can have your hands on something at the sides for stability, or keep them on the front thigh. So let's come forward on the inhale. Find a little bit of the shoulders moving in and the belly also still supporting. And then exhale to take the hips back. Use your arms in whatever way is supportive. If you feel a little more open, the strength side of things, can just fly your arms back as the front leg straightens. If this is not working for that back knee at all, with a chair perhaps, or a high support for your hands, you can keep the back knee lifted and take it through a variation like so. All right, let's take a break. So we'll take it into a puppy pose. The puppy pose, if the knees are okay, then stretching the hands forward and taking the hips way up in the air. So keeping them above the knees for this version. Otherwise, taking yourself to a seat, just letting the legs be out, fingertips behind the back and lifting the chest. Or you can have the soles of the feet together, whichever feels better. Some way to move the breastbone forward or sink it down if you're towards the floor. Just now and then coming back to opening to sound or sensations of the breath. Keeping it light. 2 more right there. 1, 2. Let's walk ourselves back to where we'd like to do for the second side. So can be here on the knees, leaning a little bit to the right to step the left foot up, or you can be standing with a chair underneath your hands, or even pressing into the wall. Just another way to get that without having to come all the way down. And so we're sinking down a little bit, hands on that front thigh or on the floor or on the wall, and then coming back to straighten out that front leg any amount. There's a bit of balance in the way I'm doing it. The inhale forward. And the exhale, fingers to the floor, or you can reach the arms back. Inhale, that right front hip flexor and a bit of an upper back bend. And then the exhale, left hamstring. Any way that you get that stretch. Feel supportive in this moment. Let's do one more. Might try different variations as you go, exploring. And then shifting. Gracefully or not, out of the pose. Choose one more time through a puppy. If you're feeling more energetic, with the toes curled under from table, you could take a downward facing dog. Or you could be on your seat again. Just leaning back and giving the legs a shake out. We're going to do a little bit of standing today. So if you're in downward facing dog and would like to walk your hands and feet towards each other, or if you're on the floor and going to pull yourself up with a chair leg or couch. No right or wrong. Just looking to find some ease in the body, as well as that bit of energy and effort that's there that just needs to be released from the spine. So take a forward fold if that's okay for your blood pressure. To have the chin towards the chest. Otherwise, you can just wait and meet us standing. Take a couple of breaths here, dangling the arms or taking opposite elbows. Let's bend the knees a lot and reverse a ragdoll. Maybe a few more finger flicks or wrist shakes as you come up. Just embellishing and adding in any sort of jiggling movements that you'd like, some vibration as you come up and roll the shoulders. And let's keep that going. So from standing, Going to start to bounce a little more really lightly. So we're bringing in that bit of effort, intentionality to this. Lots of exchange of chemicals, the brain, the oxytocin and serotonin. It's kind of like dancing, but we don't have to have any coordination or know any steps. So keep going, keep going. Nobody watching, maybe one of your pets. And you can keep it small, or you can start to kind of go a little out there. Some orchestra arms. I like to do that, is switching one elbow underneath the other. You could be lifting off your feet or just continuing with those little bounces. You can throw yourself off balance. Notice what's happening with your heart rate, your sense of aliveness or enthusiasm. It doesn't matter if you're not feeling that. Just seeing how movement can affect the overall. Good, let's just slow it down. Take a posture that outwardly is looking quiet and still, and maybe close your eyes here and just tune inward to your own vibration. Let's take a few half sun salutes. So we'll reach the arms up on the inhale. And then on the exhale, we'll fold over the legs. We'll come up halfway, so press hands to shins or thighs. Loop the shoulders. Let's go really slowly through this first one. And then belly to thighs again. Bend the knees as much as you like. Chin towards the chest. Dangle the arms. Let's roll up through the spine again. Reach the arms up on the inhale. And then exhale, bring it back. So if you don't care to fold over, that's okay. You can just do the arms part. So just be the reach up and then the reach out and back to center. Otherwise, we'll carry on with the in-breath to lift, and then the exhale is the fold. Halfway is the lengthening of the spine, keeping the belly toned and lifted, and then the exhale again takes the fold, chin to chest. You can roll up through the spine, or you can come up with a straight spine, pressing the feet, reaching up, and then exhale to trace back to the heart. Let's do two more, just with the breath, the inhale, the exhale. Half the breath for each movement. The lengthening is the inhale and the folding is the exhale. The inhale presses the ground and reaches up. And the exhale brings us back to start. One more time, just on your own. I won't even interrupt. When you're ready, we'll meet back in Samastita, equal standing. Just take your time. We'll step the feet apart quite wide and turn the toes out. Let's just play with moving in and out of goddess pose. A little bit here, reaching the knees wide and then squeezing the glutes to come back up. Wrap the knees wide, just coming down where that feels okay for your knees. You can adjust to go a little wider or closer with your feet, but keep your big toes in line with your knees. You don't have to do a big plie. Squeeze and lower. Let's add some arms. So take it into a goddess shape and wrap the right elbow underneath the left. Give yourself a hug here. Tucking the tailbone a little, a few little pulses, waking up the hamstrings, the big muscles. And then reach up again, reach the arms up, inhale. Exhale, let's come down, take it back into that cactus. Take another breath in here, squeeze the elbows back. And try not to have a big arch in the lower back. Left elbow under right elbow for a hug and an inhale. And then exhale to press it up. Reach the arms, inhale. And let's do that one more time each side, maybe eagle shape the arms. Doesn't matter which side you're going to. I'm falling over, woo! Good, and then come up, inhale and switch. To exhale the other side, nestle down through the pelvis. And let's reach up this time and we'll take a supportive, so less work, letting the shoulders come into the ears and pressing the thighs away. Shifting left and right, left and right. Let's twist, dropping the left shoulder down to look to the right. And then through center, inhale and switch, looking to the left. Once more through each side. A bit of that towel or orange squeeze there in the rib cage. And then lift up again, inhale. Heel toe back together, my legs are shaking a little bit. See if you can just stand here without shaking off. So just to perhaps feel that desire to want to move, but to just let things kind of work their way out. Sometimes what's stuck just needs a chance. Okay, let's come down towards the ground. However you'd like to get there, if you'd like to just plop down or roll down, we're going to come to our seat. You can roll it down if you like, reverse the ragdoll again. And then lower onto the seat. Let's lean back and take the legs forward and windshield wiper out like that. So let's have the legs just comfortably wide. I'm going to lift up my right bum cheek and lean over to the left. So walking, so the left palm is off to the side, behind the hip a bit. The right fingertips can come to the floor. So we're just trying to have a little bit of movement in that right femur bone, internal rotation. Let's take a few breaths here. Might feel a stretch across the belly. And then back through. It's that windmill. Right hand off to the side. Left, letting the left hip just kind of naturally, so we're not working the legs at all. Left fingertips can support you there. Can also be down on your right elbow. That will just move the stretch a little higher up the back. Let's flip it one more time over towards the left, just really loose. You could do a little push up over there. And then over towards the right. Good, come back to center. Let's bend the knees. Let's take this into a forward fold with the knees bent. Hands underneath the thighs, or depending on your spine, you might reach for forearms or opposite elbows. Let your head, chin, and neck go here. Having a nice widening and expansion, the sort of seated child's pose, or walking the heels out a little more and the bum back, if that is available to you. Getting a little extra into the hamstrings for 3, 2, and 1. Let's lift up and find a comfortable way of sitting, either cross-legged or in a hero's pose on your couch, chair. Let's get a little neck, dropping the right ear over towards the right shoulder and then looking down over the right shoulder. Let's take the chin down just slightly, looking down over the right side of the chest. Take the chin upwards a little bit on that trajectory if it feels okay. Nodding the tip of the nose up and down, or little circles over here. I like to open my jaw. I squish the face muscles, moving kind of bewitched, wiggle the nose. I'm gonna stick the tongue out. And then chin down towards the center, pause and center. You can let your hands come to the back of the skull. Elbows heavy to stretch out the back neck, but keep some of the height and buoyancy of your chest here. So it's really just the neck. Let's release that. Let the left ear start to track over towards the left shoulder. Heavy down through the right collarbone, and then looking tip of the nose over the left side. Nod it down just a wee bit on the left there, making these subtle adjustments that move the stretch around, lifting and lowering the chin. Little circles with the tip of the nose on this side, maybe some of those face movements again. Unlocking the jaw. Chin down through center one more time. Just letting the head be heavy, hands behind the head again, elbows up. Let's lift the elbows and the head up, reach the elbows wide, stretch the arms out to the side, flip the palms back, or even closer towards each other. Rather than clasping the hands together, let's just take a few breaths with the palms reaching. The fingertips might be touching the floor, or lifting the palms a little higher if you can, for 3, 2, and 1. Release the arms and roll the shoulders out. Okay, take the legs forward and shake them, drum them out. If you've got, if you do happen to have some props in your space, if you've got a couple of pillows, we could do a pose for final rest that gives a gentle opening of the hips, but it's not necessary. I've got my blanket that can be added into this for a Supta Baddha Konasana, a heart opening, as well as the hips. So I'm folding my blanket up. It's pretty flat, but it's on a long rectangle. So this is just one option to take a few minutes in. So the blanket, if you have it, is going to be like a big Band-Aid at the back of the heart. So a lot of the shoulder heads are going to be on the floor. You'll know if that lift is too much. The back of your skull, you could use your hands to lengthen that a little bit so the back of the skull can come down. The chest is a little bit higher there. Long legs. Where I've got this big Band-Aid allows my arms to be, backs of the arms on the floor just above it, so the palms can roll open to the ceiling, taking up a lot of space. You can always just rest your hands on your abdomen as well, shoulder. It doesn't matter if you have none of that, then you take yourself a comfortable shape. So the rest part of our practice, this is a really hard pose, Shavasana. so hard for us to let ourselves be still without flipping on our phone or news or Netflix, just to be here with it all, with some kindness, some gratitude and appreciation for showing up and for the body this morning, going through extending a little bit of effort. As you rest, I have a poem, a short poem that I'll read for anything at all that might resonate with your intentions for yourself today. It's called Forget About Enlightenment. Sit down wherever you are and listen to the wind singing in your veins. Feel the love, the longing, the fear in your bones. Open your heart to who you are right now, not who you would like to be, not the saint you are striving to become, but the being right here before you, inside you, around you. All of you is holy. You are already more and less than whatever you can know. Breathe out, touch in, let go. No place to get to, no expectations or goals, just rest. Find the mind is off in space somewhere. Perfect. Just to notice that. You can use any anchor, the breath or awareness of sound, just the body as it is in this posture to bring yourself back. If you have the time and are willing and would find it helpful to just stay and rest longer in Shavasana or meditation, no problem, no need to return to the screen. If you'd like to close the practice more formally, coming back to the Sangha, whether you're here in person now or at home later, sense of community and awareness that others are in some way sharing the experience. Just doing the best we all can to offer ourselves some care and compassion. Can move the fingers and toes. Another jiggle perhaps, or a stretch out. rolling over to one side to shape. May the merits of our practice be helpful to ourselves as we move out into whatever's coming next, and also in some way benefit others who we may be interacting with. Thank you so much for your effort and time. And namaste. Just turn off the recording here.